It's good to have you on the news tonight. Talk to us about your view of this continuing alluding to a cabal that is stopping Dangote or trying to stop him from doing business in Nigeria.
Thank you very much for having me. I guess we ask ourselves some simple question. Does an oil cabal really exist? Yes, it does. It is made up of international interest or companies that have been involved in the past in the importation of petrol into our country. They have local partners and they have partners within NNPC. And over the years, over the last 20 years, they have contributed to the decay and the neglect of our foreign government-owned refinery in order to create a scarcity of petroleum product, petrol, so that they can import it at international price and make very, very good profit. Now, the entrance of Dangote into the market creates a problem for them because it's now domestic production, and Dangote is a competitor with them. They were importing 70% of the petrol that came into West Africa were loaded from Rotterdam and from Northwest Europe. That means our crude oil goes to Europe, is refined there, and then it is imported into the country by local people with international partners. We're talking a lot of money. For instance, in 2021, NNPC had 16 groups of companies that form a consortium. They imported into Nigeria petrol, and in the process, NNPC made a profit of about $2 billion. But NNPC came back and told government that, no, we did not make a profit. We actually made a loss due to subsidy and charged the government $2.9 billion of subsidy, which they refused to give to the government. So basically, these people were having it in two ways. They were importing petrols, making a profit, and then lying to the government that there was subsidy. There was no subsidy. There's just pure corruption. So when the Tinubu government came in, it decided to raise the price of petrol because he claimed it was removing subsidy. But just like I said, there was no subsidy. For instance, if somebody comes and steals your money when you are selling in a store, you do not deal with the thief by raising the price of the goods in your store. You stop the thief from stealing the money you have gotten from your consumers. So when Dangote came in, Dangote now is producing and therefore interrupting these people's control of the Nigerian market, which was almost 100%. Dangote can produce for the whole of Nigerian market. Now Dangote is producing a capacity of producing 53 million liters a day. Our demand for the whole of Nigeria is about 45 million liters a day. Dangote right now is only producing 70%, just like 30 million liters a day. So what is happening now is that Dangote is selling at oligopolistic prices. The importers are fighting Dangote because Dangote is taking their share of the market. But I want to say one thing which is very important. The oil cabal are fighting for their own interests, not to the interests of Nigerian people. Nigerian people want low petrol prices so that food prices can come down, transportation prices can come down, and all this inflation can come down. So Dangote is fighting for Dangote interests. Nobody is fighting for the interests of Nigerian people. It's like two elephants fighting, and none of them really has the Nigerian interest at heart.
That's an important point, Doc. That's a very important point you are making. It is business at the end of the day. Cabal or no cabal, everybody wants something that will be beneficial to them. The ordinary man might not factor in as much in the larger scheme of things. So talk to us. Is it possible for, this might sound naive, but is there an alternate universe where these people can actually find a way to work together as against working against Dangote's growth?
No. The thing for us to do, first and foremost, our priority must be to protect the interests of Nigerian people. Then second priority is to protect Dangote against the oil cabal. First and foremost, the Nigerian people. How do we protect the Nigerian people? We set up antitrust law, which means anybody that wants to form an oligopoly or a monopoly has to be controlled. It can't be done at the level of the people. You know, if Dangote can sell, the last time I look at this, Dangote could sell at 790 naira per liter and make a good profit. So if Dangote is selling at 835 per liter, which is about 50 cents per liter, Dangote is making oligopolistic profit. In Nigeria, we should not be importing petrol at all. So government, the first thing government should do is to stop the importation of PMS, just outright, because we don't really have an excuse of doing that. What we should do is to make sure our 4 refineries, which are owned by NNPC, are operational, and then encourage other large refineries, like the one being done privately by BUA. So if we have Dangote Refinery at 650,000 barrels a day, we have BUA at 200,000 barrels a day, and we have our 4 refinery at 455,000 barrels a day. We can not only meet national demand, we take over demand in the whole of West Africa. But corruption has stopped the repair of our 4 refineries. Okay. Corruption have encouraged the continuous importation of petrol into the country. The mere fact that Dangote is having competitors with the oil cabal, suddenly Dangote have become an activist. Those of us who opposed so-called removal of oil subsidy clearly told government that it will cause suffering to the people, and that the problem was corruption, that the problem was not low petroleum prices.
So
they were comparing Nigeria to Ghana instead of comparing Nigerian prices to other oil producers in OPEC.
All right.
So if you compare prices of petrol in Nigeria with most of OPEC country, we have very high prices.
I really hate to interrupt you, but I have to ask this question. You've already established, it seems a deeply entrenched establishment interest. That's what we're looking at here. Should we be looking at it purely as politics, or does it call for perhaps criminal investigation and prosecution for all these activities that is hindering the ordinary Nigerian from accessing crude oil?
It calls for criminal persecution. If you set up a legislation that is antitrust law, and you set it up clearly, like they did in US when they had a similar problem, for breaking those laws and doing anything that is contrary to competition, you pay $10 million and you serve time in jail. But in Nigeria, you cannot have a situation where some people are above the law. It's not the rule of law, and everybody feels some people are so powerful they can get away with anything. You cannot have a situation where you are repairing 4 refineries, and then for years and years you are spending money, nobody is going to jail, no investigation is being made. Then today we see in the paper that it's $10 billion, 10 billion naira fund in somebody's account. Tomorrow 2.5 billion was spent on Port Harcourt. Then 3 years later it's 1.5 billion. Everybody says, I did not start the problem. The problem started in 1950. The problem started in 2007. Well, everybody knows there's a problem. When you run for leadership, you solve the problem. So the question you asked me, example have to be shown. Those who are seen to have broken the law or done things that are contrary to the interests of ordinary Nigerian people, like all those who were found to have broken the law and brought in and were corrupt when Ahmed Taruk investigation was done in 2012. None of them were punished. People should be sent to serious time in jail, and it should be done publicly. I mean, powerful people. should be punished. If not, if you have a country where those who are in power are above the law, then you cannot really have development, you cannot grow. All this talk of economic improvement is just theory.
Prof, this is a very serious issue, and I know if I let you, you have so much to share with us. But for now, let's take away the message that accountability, we have to work on it, checks and balances and prosecution where necessary. Thank you, as always, for obliging us.